So, for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones. It is my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. Today is January the 19th, 2025. And the presentation that we're going to be, the topic that we're discussing today centers around the fact that this has been declared National Thyroid Disease Awareness Month. So don't be alarmed. It was also National Glaucoma Awareness Month as well. So when you're the government, you can declare as many awareness things as you want for any given month. So those are the two things. And we decided that it might be a good idea to take advantage of that. Since it is a National Thyroid Disease Awareness Month, let's talk a little bit about the thyroid. And since we have one of the most brilliant minds in the world at our disposal, why not let him weigh in on this very topic? So we're happy that you came to hear this. So let's take a minute here and take care of some of our necessary business. Slideshow, share sound, and do what we typically have to do on a regular basis is to warn you that the FDA has not evaluated these statements. You're going to be hearing testimonials. They're purely anecdotal. Results are atypical, which means that what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So none of the individuals involved here, the Healthcare Support Association of America, Engage Global, Dr. Prasad, Jonathan Jones, or any of the authorized representatives are making claims that any supplements that we recommend will treat or cure any disease state. This presentation is for information and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for visit to your doctor. We recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. So now what that also means, and we'd like to just kind of remind you that when we hear from Dr. Prasad, and sometimes he'll answer your questions, and you may get an opportunity to ask some questions toward the end of our discussion. And if that's the case, please remember Dr. Prasad is a scientist. So he's not giving medical advice. He's giving scientific advice, facts. Dr. Prasad was the professor, University of Colorado School of Medicine. So we're really privileged to be able to have this gentleman here. So just keep that in mind as we have our discussion going forward. So to lay the foundation, before we actually invite Dr. Prasad to the fore, this is just a little bit of background information on the thyroid. It does a lot of things that I know it's beyond above my pay grade really to even pass on, but I pulled up some of the research on it. And some of you who may be very concerned about the thyroid, this is elementary to you. You already have a pretty good idea of what the thyroid does. It regulates metabolism, energy, hormone production. A common thyroid disorder includes hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, and thyroid nodules. Those are the ones that fall into the most common category. But thyroid diseases can also lead to fatigue, weight changes, and mood disturbances. So there are times when, from a human perspective, you may be doing things or feeling ways that you can't understand yourself, and it may not be your fault. It could very well be linked back to a thyroid issue, some form of dysregulation in some way. And it's very common too. So it's not like it's a rare thing. According to the American Thyroid Association, there's 20 million Americans that have some form of thyroid disease. And about 6% of those with thyroid disease don't even know it. Women are 5 to 8 times more likely to develop thyroid disorders than men. And I'm surprised that the number is that low, to be quite honest with you, because in my personal opinion, this is again just my personal opinion, and I'm a layman, that for the most part, men, if we have mood issues or weight issues, we're the last ones to try to connect that to a thyroid or to try to find some, causal connection to it. But hopefully we have doctors that can help us to make that connection. But women, much more in tune with how their body functions and how they feel, and generally get diagnosed, as it says here, 5 to 8 times more likely to have a thyroid disorder than others. 1 in 8 women will develop thyroid condition during their lifetime. That is staggering to contemplate. Micronutrients do play a role. Micronutrients do play a role in thyroid health. There's just 4 of them listed on this screen that have a direct impact on thyroid conditions. And the reason why this is kind of relevant is because the food that we eat does not have the same nutritional content that it once had. In fact, researchers have said that if you go back to the early 1900s, to when your grandmothers and great grandmothers ate food, they could get an ear of corn, and it was so nutritionally dense that today, to get the same level of nutrition from food, you'd have to eat 18 to 20 ears of corn to get the same thing that your great grandmother got back in the early 1900s. Now, that's just mind numbing to me. The soil just does not have the level of selenium in it, and many other micronutrients that just are not readily available in our food. In fact, if we were getting all the nutrition in our food that we needed, disease and illness would be a fraction of what it is today. I think it was Dr. Linus Pauling that was the first one credited with saying that every disease is rooted in a vitamin and mineral deficiency. And but Dr. Prasad has stood on that man's shoulders and taken it to yet a whole nother level for us. His formulas have a direct impact on thyroid health. He's put together comprehensive blends of antioxidants and micronutrients that not only supply the body with what it needs, it also triggers and has a direct impact on endogenous antioxidants. Those are the antioxidants that your body makes. So anything that's connected to inflammation in some way, anything that's connected to oxidative stress in some way, anything that's connected to some level of dysfunction at the cellular level, the micronutrient level, Dr. Prasad's formulas can have a huge impact. So his combinations are unique and patented. So you're going to be hearing a lot about that today as Dr. Prasad breaks that down for us. You may hear some real life testimonials. I know we have at least one, and I'm pretty sure that there's others here that are live that can attest to some benefits that they've had in using some of Dr. Prasad's formulas in their battle against thyroid disease. I remember early on, one gentleman that I'd been trying to help understand the value of these products. One of the first questions he said was, "Does it have an impact on thyroid?" And I thought that was unusual, but that's what his question was. And just recently, one of the testimonies I think that you'll hear today, I said, "So you're going to be able to share your thyroid story today?" And she said, "What thyroid story?" She said, "Oh, me. I forgot I even had a thyroid story." So it was dominant 2 years ago, but today she forgot that she'd even had a thyroid story. So sorry, Angelique, I didn't mean to just toss it out there like that, but it just that was just an amazing thing to me. But that's what Dr. Prasad's formulas can do to you. It can make you forget that you even had a health problem. I just recently had a client that I shared some micronutrients with, and she said, "Yeah, I'm doing great, but I've got a problem. I pulled a muscle." So this woman probably in her 80s, I don't recall right now, was feeling so good, she started exercising again and forgot that she was sick, and she couldn't just get started like that. She pulled a muscle. So that's the impact that Dr. Prasad's formulas can have on you, make you forget that you even have some sort of a limitation. But you're talking about formulas that have been developed by the world's first radiation biology PhD. And by the way, the significance of that is important because anybody remember the disaster at Fukushima, Japan? One of the things that was talked about a lot when that nuclear disaster took place was the importance of getting glutathione in the body, because glutathione could protect the thyroid. And that was what was being discussed around that time period. But anyway, Dr. Prasad can help us understand the importance of antioxidants and the way that they protect specific parts of the body. But because we're spotlighting thyroid disease, that's why this is relevant. And that's why you're here right now, because you've got an opportunity to take control of your thyroid health. You have an opportunity to do something about it. And if, let's see, we have almost 100 connections on here today. And if the statistic is correct, that means that there's about 9 women on here right now that either have thyroid disease or are going to get it at some point in their life, especially if the majority of the individuals in this meeting right now just so happen to be women. So you're in the right place at the right time to have this discussion. And we're looking forward to hearing from Dr. Prasad, the man behind the research, the man behind the science, the man who helps all of this make sense, the man who gives us confidence that we can get up in the morning and put something in our body that can actually have a measurable difference. I'm going to tell a bad story. This goes back many decades now, but I decided I was going to start taking a vitamin. And long before I knew anything about nutrition and supplements like that, but I went to the drugstore. I think it was Eckerd Drugs at the time, and I just went over to the men's section and picked up a vitamin off the shelf. Looked like a pretty good one. I mean, it just was screaming at me, "Buy me, buy me, buy me." The first one I took made me so sick. I couldn't. I still remember to this day, which is a shame. That it made me sick. Now, that may not be the case for everybody, but that's what it did to me. And so it made me actually a little bit skittish about selecting vitamins from that point forward until I learned. But now we don't have to be skittish. We don't have to be cautious. We don't have to wonder about what's going in our body, because this is the gentleman who put these formulas together. This is Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad, as I mentioned before, is the world's first radiation biology PhD. He was a professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine for some 30 years. This is Professor Prasad, not just any old PhD scientist, Professor Prasad. His formulas on micronutrients have been awarded some 10 US patents. That means that he put together unique formulas that were patentable. That if anyone else decides to come along and try to walk in his footsteps there, they tread it into some serious legal jeopardy. The U.S. Congress expended millions of dollars behind Dr. Prasad and his research because they knew that if anyone could produce a formula that could help their men and women on the battlefield to remain in optimal health, it was going to be this man. And they stroked the check. He delivered. And his formula is the basis for what we all have confidence in putting in our body every single day. In fact, I keep a bottle of it around. I think my wife stole my bottle. But anyway, I took my second dose for today, and we have it all around the house. And some by her night table, some by my night table, some by my chair that I sit in. I'm trying not to become a couch potato, but I put it right there, and I put Brain Boost right there too, Dr. Prasad, so that it reminds me of things that I need to do. But Dr. Prasad also has been published some 250 times in peer-reviewed publications. It's closer to 300 because since we've been having meetings like this over the past 3 or 4 years, he's been published 3 or 4 more times already. And you can find more than 450 references to his work on PubMed. That's the official library of all published medical documents in the United States. 450 references to Dr. Prasad and his work. He's authored or co-authored some 33 books. I think it's more like 35 or 36 by now. But that's the gentleman that we want to bring into our discussion right now, because he's forgotten more than most of us know on the subject of micronutrients. So Dr. Prasad, welcome to our discussion. Thank you so much for your being willing to join us in a discussion like this to address important topics that are on the minds and hearts of so many in our audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm always enjoyed working with you and engaged family, and I'm always there. Any kind of help, anybody needs it.
Absolutely. We can attest to that. You you have proven to be there and available any and every time that we need the help. No question about it. So tell us, Dr. Prasad, um, just the handful of statistics on the thyroid was, I mean, it's a little bit
Yes,
depressing, to be
it
honest
is.
with you.
Yeah, it is in some way it is disturbing. And as you mentioned, it that both in case of hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, increased oxidative stress and inflammation is involved. So from preventing point of view, if you don't have right now either hypo or hyperthyroidism, and for example, especially women, you mentioned it is 8 times more likelihood to develop one at some point, and so it is important to have prevention strategy as well. And if you reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, then not only, for example, uh, one of the reasons is that the hyperthyroidism increase metabolism in your body, and hypothyroid reduce everything, slow down, feel tired, and so on. But important thing is that especially hypothyroidism is more prevalent in the region where the salt have a deficiency of iodine.
Oh,
Yes, it's very, very well established phenomena in throughout the world that the deficiency of iodine, and that's the reason our salt, most of the time, some salt you can buy it without iodine, but I think I would always suggest that to use a iodinated salt, that we have, most of them have it. And so deficiency of iodine can induce hypothyroidism, and then you have got swelling in the neck and everything else, consequence of that. But no matter what the etiology is, they all induce oxidative stress and inflammation. So even though if you are reaching in a region where the deficiency of iodine exists, then if you take a micronutrient which can reduce oxidative stress, you can bypass the deficiency effect of iodine. But in addition, I always recommend that you must take a not iodine supplement, because if you take excess amount of
right.
iodine, it can cause
Yeah.
hyperthyroidism. And so the amount of iodine and salt, you don't take very much salt, so that's, as long as you're taking iodinated salt, you are okay. You have no chance of developing hypothyroidism.
Well,
And
is the reason why people are cutting back on salt is because of like high blood pressure, and that's
yeah, yeah, but yeah, but for iodine require very tiny amount. So even
right.
you cut down your sugar, I mean, that the salt, still, as long as you're taking some salt,
It should. Uh-huh.
then you don't have a chance of developing a hypothyroidism. But if you totally eliminate salt, then there's a risk of developing hypothyroidism, because if you totally eliminate the salt, but then you have to take some kind of supplement of iodine to make sure that tiny amount,
Mm-hmm.
that your thyroid is getting sufficient amount of uh, and in order to function, it does it require for the thyroid hormone formation. So it is things that can be manageable, but if you know why, that's the causes. I always say that our approach has been to attack the causes of the disease, not the consequences of the disease,
Right.
and
Right.
not the symptom of the disease. And that's why we have been so successful, because we are doing the any one from nutrition point of view. Only thing that I found out was looking the literature, that the hypothyroidism has a reduced amount of collagen. They lose collagen selectively. Looks like, even though if you're a young person and you are not losing any place else but there, because for some reason increased oxidative stress can enhance the collagenase activity, which can degrade it.
Is that right?
Yeah. So for some reason, suppose the localized, you have increased oxidative stress. You have whole body, but maybe specifically there, for many other reactions that thyroid has it, maybe they accumulate more quickly, they increase oxidative stress. And so no matter what it is, if you have to reduce it, then you are okay. Otherwise, again, irrespective of etiology, if you control it, not only thyroid disease, but your overall health will improve, including thyroid disease issue prevention, goiter, for example. Hypothyroidism is a good example. So so iodine is important, but excess amount is also not good. So, and when you mentioned that, sometime in experimental system, when they do in an experimental model, they always use single agents because their belief is that multiple agent can complicate their interpretation.
Right.
So sometimes in animal model, single antioxidant, or in cell culture model, single antioxidant works very nicely, whatever you are measuring it. But when it goes to a human trial, it doesn't work because human has much more complex. The antioxidant, different oxidant deposit themselves in a different part of the cell in different amounts. So if you just give a one, say, water-soluble antioxidant, what happens to lipid-soluble environment? And if you use vitamin E and not vitamin C, then what happens to water-soluble environment? So that's why our approach is multiple vitamin, and this is the reason it has been so effective, and that's so that you can distribute it sufficient amount in all parts of your cell, in all organ of your body.
That makes perfect sense, Dr. Prasad.
And so
So,
the only thing limitation I would say that collagen peptide. In a hypothyroidism, collagen peptides is reduced for the reason that I mentioned to you, increased oxidative stress. But hyperthyroidism, for some reason, collagen level increase. So if you have a hyperthyroidism, you don't want to take extra collagen at all because for some reason, collagen is being deposited at a higher level, whatever the genetic component might be.
okay.
So
Well,
that's
that's
one
interesting.
distinction that one has to be aware of, that if you're hyper, take everything except.
Right. But that's interesting, Dr. Prasad. So, but let's back up for just a minute here so that folks will understand this is the foundation formula right here.
Right there.
And so this is loaded with your antioxidants
Yes.
and glutathione, N-acetylcysteine, and components that raise glutathione.
Yes.
Is that as big of a deal for the thyroid as I was told?
I think so. Glutathione is by itself will do some, like they have done it in an experimental system. And because glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant. But the reason we gave N-acetylcysteine because we wanted to elevate the glutathione level optimally.
Right.
And so what happens that if you take glutathione, some will be destroyed in your system by itself, and
Right.
then it will be distributed. But N-acetylcysteine is not broken down in the stomach. It enters into your bloodstream. There, the acetyl part of the N-acetylcysteine chopped off, and cysteine is used to make a new glutathione.
Okay, so the body then makes glutathione and it self-regulates.
Yes. So if you give a combination, then you have much higher level of glutathione than you give the glutathione as such. Until you give IV, then this is different.
Right. That's a different story. Okay. All right.
Orally, most of the people give orally, and orally they will be hydrolyzed in the gut to start with in the first, and then later on, so it may not be as effective as if you combine both.
Gotcha. Okay. So then this is the formula, folks,
Yes.
that you'll want to concentrate on as the very foundation
Yes.
for keeping the body the
Optimal health.
inflammation down and oxidative stress
Down.
at a minimum
Yes.
and support good thyroid health. So this formula right here is the way to go.
Exactly.
And of
And
course, for
another
intestinal.
very, very important for thyroid disease as well. Actually, for all diseases,
Yeah.
that's amazing that the what we call intestinal dysbiosis means when it happens, that means the number of harmful bacteria increase in your gut, and number of beneficial bacteria have decreased it. That we call intestinal dysbiosis. So when that happens, and it happens in older age, older people, as you grow older, with or without any disease, but with all diseases, including cancer, the intestinal dysbiosis occurs. So this is amazing that people don't ask questions. How is your gut when you go for for any disease to a doctor? And so even the hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, if you have intestinal dysbiosis occurs. And so you have to reverse it. And the reason it is very dangerous is because it produces a lot of harmful bacteria, produces a lot of toxic chemical. And one of the well-known is, as you know, pro-inflammatory cytokines.
Yeah.
Which, as you know, during COVID time, they create so much. It is called cytokine storm.
Yeah.
They defined it. So
Yeah.
it is a dangerous system, pro-inflammatory cytokines, and harmful bacteria will produce it. So how do you reverse it? One and only way you can reverse it by using probiotics with prebiotics. And prebiotics, as you know, Jonathan, is nothing but it is soluble and insoluble fiber that bacteria needs to ferment it. And during fermentation of fiber by the probiotics bacteria, there are a lot of beneficial molecules are produced, including butyric acid, which, as you know, I discovered as a potent anti-cancer agent, and also propionic acid, acetic acid. They're all very important acid. They produce it, and it is very important for your health. And if you just give probiotics and don't give prebiotics, then it won't be as effective because there is no place to ferment it.
That's it. That's it. That's pretty important. And I hope that everybody kind of just wraps their mind around this. I was under the impression at one time that you had to take 50 billion international units of probiotics to have good intestinal biome, gut biome. But Dr. Prasad's formula survives. He has heat resistant and acid resistant bacteria in
That's
here.
the reason we did not have to put 50 billion of the lactobacillus and bifido, which are beneficial bacteria.
This is incredible right here. So you could just take one of these every day for
Every
3 weeks
day,
or so, about a month.
Yeah.
And then you're good. Just keep going with that. That's all you need.
And in this case, one thing that is extremely important, especially for older individual like me, as you grow older, the capacity of your body to produce digestive enzyme decreases. This is law of nature. It is a price of aging. You can't prevent it.
Yep.
And then what happens? Then you are not digesting protein, carbohydrate, fat, and then you get a bloating. You get an uncomfortable feeling because it is not being eliminated, undigested food. And undigested food, as you know, if you are not eliminated, they can they do during digestion form a lot of mutagen and carcinogen, and they can damage over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So it is important to have a digestive boost so that you are not only, if you are taking probiotics, you are taking care of one part of the gut, and then you are also taking care of digestive enzyme. So then entire your gut system is extremely healthy. And when that happens, all the micronutrients you are taking, or the protein, fat, or carbohydrate you are taking, they will be digested very nicely, and you will not have any problem of indigestion or bloating.
And listen, folks, especially those of you who are here for the first time, this is huge because one of the biggest problems in seniors as we get older is colon and digestive issues.
Yes.
So this combination is a big deal. So do not dismiss what Dr. Prasad just said. The omega-3, of course, is extremely good.
Omega-3 is extremely good for many reasons. For example, that it is not only that in your brain, the omega-3, omega has two very important components. One is called DHA, it is a long name, and another is called EPA. EPA is important for heart, and DHA is important for the brain.
Mhm.
And so you can see that you have there DHA and EPA. We have added both, and the DHA is twice as much as the EPA because it is important for the brain. And we also added what is called a linolenic alpha linolenic acid that you get from the diet. This is also extremely important for your health. You can't eliminate it. But the gamma omega-6 has a double function. In a small amount, it acts as an antioxidant and anti-inflammation. But in a high amount, it acts as a pro-inflammation. It will
Ooh,
increase inflammation. And that's why we have added very tiny amount in our formulation.
wow. Okay. Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense.
And
Another
omega-3
beneficial.
has another very unique function is that if some, say, diabetic patient has become insulin resistant, that means insulin receptor is not working. And
Yeah.
that means the signaling molecule we call AKT is
Yes.
being activated. So you
Yes.
have insulin resistance. So what you do? If you don't do anything, then they will end up in a complication of diabetic relation, eye disease, kidney, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But if you're taking omega-3 directly activates the signaling molecule called AKT. And when that happens, AKT sends a signal to glucose transporter 4 to migrate to the cell surface membrane and allow glucose to come in. Without that, glucose cannot come inside the cell.
Wow. See, and Dr. Prasad says this kind of stuff and figures that everybody just absorbs that information. But I don't know if you guys heard that, but Dr. Prasad just basically indicated that with omega-3, it would unlock and allow glucose to go into the cell independent
Yeah,
of insulin.
yeah. If
So
even a person who is insulin resistant, yeah,
somebody who's diabetic would want to make sure that this omega-3 is going in their body because that's going to help the cells to
exactly.
absorb insulin, glucose, whether there's insulin available or not.
Yeah,
Dr. Prasad, that's incredible.
yeah.
Just absolutely incredible.
Many people don't know it, but I did, when I do research, I did very thorough research and find out all these things. I
Yep.
didn't know myself.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And now let me just, for the sake of clarity, when it comes to the collagen peptide,
Yeah.
if the thyroid is underactive, you can take the collagen peptide.
Oh, yeah. Collagen peptide is totally different because
So,
it has a totally different function. And actually, it will be, while you are losing weight, even if you have hyper, doesn't make difference. It has no relationship with the disease, if anything, because they also have a component that we have added has antioxidant effects that might help actually rather than hurt.
okay.
And taking any product which are increasing the GLP-1 or GIP. But anyway, that's a different one.
Okay. So this
Collagen peptide, it is extremely important.
for a person whose thyroid is not working, but if it's overactive, they
Yes,
should
yeah,
avoid this.
overworking, then don't take collagen. Yeah,
Okay. So that's the hyper.
hyper, yes,
So if you have hyperthyroidism, do not take the collagen
exactly.
peptide. But if hypo, then
Yes,
take
then
it.
you take it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna just make that clear because otherwise folks will not understand it. Now, you just touched on something a minute ago that I think we got to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah.
Um,
This
blood,
coming up tomorrow, not tomorrow, Tuesday.
yeah, no, but we're gonna tell people they got to be there Tuesday night. That's for sure.
Yes.
But top right up here, Dr. Prasad. I mean, you can see the picture. I mean, it's right there on the picture. You got to tell us how the thyroid can be impacted by this GLP-1. And listen, folks, the reason why we're talking about this is because Dr. Prasad has had the nerve to put together a formula that involves GLP-1 and GIP that is unique, not on the market anywhere. This is patent pending,
Yes.
This is being released in pre-launch this coming Tuesday night. You're going to want to make sure that whoever invited you here today, that you're there for that. But I cannot let this man get away from this discussion without telling us a little bit about how this GLP-1 is going to have an impact on the thyroid. Talk to us, Dr. Prasad.
I think, as I said, one of the major function of GLP is that improve the glucose metabolism, so that's the reason it was developed initially. And it also reduces appetite, and therefore you lose weight.
Right.
And but I think it doesn't have any direct impact. But for example, if you reduces your hunger and you are not eating anything, that can impact your thyroid function. And, like chronically, long term, not for 1 week or 2 weeks. And that's the reason that many people who are taking, for example, Ozempic is one of the most widely taken, but it has a lot of toxicity,
Right.
and vomiting, and long-term toxicity is pancreatic and thyroid cancer.
Oof.
And because of this, first, Ozempic, as you know, is a 21 amino acid polypeptides synthetic. It is made in the laboratory. And I discuss detailed discovery. Is very discovery.
Okay.
History of discovery of GLP-1. But anyway, GLP would not have a direct impact in terms of, if anything, it will have a useful impact. Because it will make you more healthier by losing weight, because obesity can affect many things through many functions.
That's right. Okay.
Oxidative stress.
Okay.
So if you are obese and if you have a thyroid problem, GLP will be very useful because it's weight.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about a positive impact on the endocrine system. Positive. So hormonal balance is in the offing. So just keep that one in mind, folks. So let's keep this simple.
And metabolism. One of the function of thyroid is to maintain the metabolism of all your organs.
Yes. So the GLP-1 and GIP will work right along with the thyroid. Okay, very good. Excellent. Okay, so here's the combination, folks, that you want to take a look at. This is the very simple, basic formula right here. This is called the
basic formula. You must add the digestive boost.
Yeah. So, but this is the basic bundle right here. So any one of these formulas, any one of these bundles, you can add on any of the boost products. So you can add on the digestive boost. You can add on the any of the other products that you want to this one. These are the different bundles: basic bundle, premium bundle, and the core 4. So those are the ones you want to go for. The core 4 subscription, in my opinion, is the best bang for your buck. The retail cost on that would be $310, but Engage Global subsidizes your health and has knocked that down to $199.99. So you can't beat that for $200. This is definitely what you want to go for if you're dealing with it. And remember, just add on the boost product, the digestive boost. And every time you add on a boost product to any of these bundles, by the way, the company will actually give you a discount on it. So your first one, you get $10 discount on it. The second one, you get $15 discount on it. The third one, you get $20 discount on it. So they keep just discounting it. So the more you add on, the better your health gets, and the more cost effective it is for you. So just talk with the person who invited you, and they will help you to figure out how to put together the order that's best for you. So, but Dr. Prasad, I want to just see if we can't pull in one or two of these stories.
I'd love to hear that.
That I know had benefits of it. So I gave you plenty of time to give it some thought there, Angelique Greer. So now is time for you to go ahead and tell us exactly what happened. Share your story with us so everybody can know. Dr. Prasad is anxious to hear it, and so is everybody else. So, where are you? There you are. Am I able to put you on screen? No, I can't put you on screen right now, right?
Let me see. Can you see me?
Okay. Yeah, we can add you to the spotlight. Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Very good. All right. So tell us your story, Angelique, if you can.
Okay, well, I was diagnosed at the age of 39 with hypothyroidism, but I didn't know what I had. For years, I was always exhausted. Um, just, I don't know, just didn't feel like I had swelling, edema, just little things, but was never diagnosed until I was 39. So once I got diagnosed, I'm like, okay. And he automatically gave me a prescription. And I go, what is this? What is thyroid problems? What? I didn't know anything. So I started to do research and I couldn't find anything. Basically, take some selenium and, some basic stuff. But I did not take the prescription because I wasn't intolerant. Because he said, once you start, you got to take for the rest of your life. And that was my turnoff. But I went to a chiropractor and he told me about a more natural way to deal with the thyroid. But I mean, it was okay. It didn't really do anything. Um, just kind of keep your numbers down, but you still feel horrible. But it wasn't until, well, the reason I called you about the micro daily was for my husband. But then I started taking it and I could see a difference. I started having some energy because my energy was so bad that I could barely get dressed. I get dressed and then I'm like, oh man, I still got to put shoes on. I still got to do this. I still got to do that. And it was just exhausting. Life, everything about it was exhausting. So when I looked at all the symptoms, I had almost every single symptom except maybe one or two. Um, and I even noticed I couldn't hear good because I found that's another symptom. Weight gain, every year I was gaining more and more weight no matter what I did. I could lose the weight, but then gain it back and gain more. So it was just a constant thing. But I forgot to look up what year I started taking micro daily. So all the symptoms one by one started to go away. But it wasn't really until I was taking the original at first. But when I started taking the EMF one, I noticed it was like a real jump in my health. It jumped forward. I could feel a bigger difference with the EMF. And then when the collagen, it was even more improvement. Even my husband said, "Oh, you're even looking better." Because like I didn't know this, but when Dr. Prasad was talking about you lose the collagen, you can see it in your skin that you've lost collagen. You start to look haggard looking.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm not saying I don't look haggard looking now, but I look better.
You look great, Kathy.
Yeah, because I'm in my 60s now, so I've been dealing with this thing for a while, but it wasn't until the EMF and the collagen and then the probiotic, because you have constipation or you just, your body's just constantly, there's something wrong every day. Aches and pains, and you don't even know why you got the aches and pains. Like the top of my head, there was a spot in my head that would just, a sharp pain. I'm like, why do I have a sharp pain in the top of my head? Just weird stuff, because that's what the thyroid just gives you, all kind of weird little things. And then they started to all go away. Even my memory came back because I used to couldn't even remember words as I was talking. I knew what I wanted to say, but I would forget the words while I'm talking. But now I can talk. And my husband said, "Why are you using all these big words?" And I said, "Because I already knew them." So yeah, it's just
Well,
amazing difference. And like I said, I forgot about the thyroid problem.
Thank you.
last
Thank you,
week,
Dr. Prasad.
Thank you. Thank you, Angelique.
last week when I asked her to tell this story, she said, "What thyroid problem?" And it had faded into oblivion. She had forgotten all about it. That was the original basis for her having any involvement with Engage Global was that. Well, no, her husband. And then, of course, she got the additional benefits from it. So, Angelique, tell him about the football the football game?
Oh, so we went camping because my husband loves to go camping. We were with a group of young people, and they wanted to play football on the beach.
Uh,
I do not like watching football, but I'd rather play it. So I'm like, it's on the beach. I can, you're safe.
yeah.
And here they had this one young girl guarding me, and she was taller than me. So I got the ball, but she got it out of my hands, and I fell on the sand, jumped back up, and started running. And some of the people that are around my age, they were like, "Aren't you going to be hurting tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to be fine." So everybody's always asking me about their people close in their 60s are always complaining about pain, but I'm like, since taking an EMF, I'm like, there's no pain. You just keep moving.
Yeah.
She make it sound so simple, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah. I
No
know.
pain, just keep moving.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy,
Oh
for
yeah.
sharing your
You.
story.
Thank you.
Oh,
You-
I did have whiplash. So that also, I think when you have a thyroid problem and you have neck injuries, that exasperate it. But even that is like I don't have a stiff neck anymore.
Oh, good. Good.
So
Wow. Okay. All right. So the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you again for being willing to share your story, Angelique. So,
I think that-
and I think a lot of folks, Dr. Prasad, may not even realize that many of their problems is connected to the thyroid.
I know. I know. I know.
She didn't know.
Yeah. No. I mean, thyroid is so important for your growth and development, and and so I think if there is anything goes wrong, you slightest you may not detect it, but you will feel it. Like she was feeling tired and everything, and then people go to the doctor, and then then they get medication. But it's a very simple way of doing it.
Well, we got one more for you. Bernard Dean's lovely wife.
Oh, I know. I have talked
Um,
to her, Sheila. Yeah.
yeah, Shelley is going to share her story with us also.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Prasad, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm going to make mine a bit shorter. So the lady, the previous experience, it's so true what she says because myself, I have a thyroid problem as well. And so I have mine for about 5 years. And since we came on the product 2 years ago, I have seen changes with it. So initially I have, obviously use the core. I'm using the core 4 the EMF. But what made a bigger difference actually was last year when we were um, at the conference in Provo. The,
Mhm.
I spoke to Dr. Prasad. I actually got him to check my neck right there and so on. And he said to me, well, if you add the original to your bundle, then you will see a bigger impact. And truth, yes, it actually works just like that. So I showed my husband this morning what I do, and he was amazed at it. So yes, the EMF with the original, it makes a big difference, as part of your core 4. And it really works. It helps everything with the thyroid, your levels and everything. It's very healthy, very energizing. Get good sleep. My hair doesn't fall out. Weight gain, no. So yeah, all everything, all good so far. Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, Sheila.
So that's 2 out of 2, Dr. Prasad. What is this?
Yeah, I saw her in a meeting in one of those places.
Uh-huh. Yep. Down at some of the
Yeah.
conferences.
We had a good talk, and
Hmm. Well, I can tell you this, that there's not one single individual that's taking your formulas that find themselves being disappointed. The benefits just seem to keep
I
adding
think
up.
it's also slow. I always emphasize this is kind of chronic disease is going to take a little time. So at
Yes,
least give a chance 90 days.
yes, exactly. So get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, folks, and they will help you to be able to put together the bundle that's right for you. You just heard 2 examples, Angelique Greer and Michelle Dean, both of them dealing with thyroid issues, and they decided to take an action step. They decided that taking control
Yes.
of their thyroid health, and that the decision was not in the hands of somebody else, but it was in their own hands.
Yes.
They could decide.
Yes.
And then they did the research. And I can tell you that they did do the research. They looked in and they said that the man behind these formulas was robust enough that they could trust that there could be some positive benefits that will come from it. And they were right. So don't let your thyroid issues dictate your life. Don't let some chronic condition be in control of who and what you are. So, because you could spend all your whole life focusing on and managing some chronic condition, or you could just live, and Dr. Prasad's formulas allow us to just live, to
Yes.
go on with enjoying life and having quality of life.
Quality of life. Exactly. Exactly.
We hear it over and over and over again. So, and Dr. Prasad is always the first one to say, go talk to your healthcare provider to get advice. And whenever you're trying to add some supplement to your diet,
Yes.
I can tell you that if your healthcare provider tells you not to take anything of this man's formulas, I would highly recommend you go get another opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, so you do whatever you want, but my personal opinion is you need to find a doctor that understands supplements better. And then change your relationship with your couch. Please change your relationship with your couch.
Yeah.
Don't ask Dr. Prasad or his formulas to do for you what you could do for yourself. Get up and get moving. That getting up and getting moving, you have no idea just the benefits of walking. They used to say 10,000 steps a day. And that to me is too big of a number, but think 7,000. Scientists now have figured out that 7,000 is the new 10,000. That is good. And that's the number that you want to shoot for. So try to get that in 3 to 4 times every week, especially if you're diabetic. Get moving. Don't park as close to Walmart as you can get. Park as far away from Walmart as you can. Get those steps in. Walk that parking lot. And don't drive around looking for the close spots. Park at the far end of the parking lot. Get those steps in, and your life will absolutely change. Now, next week, for those of you who didn't get a chance to ask questions today, Bernard Dean and Jeff Ashby are going to be caring for the program next week. Bring your question for the doctor. So you can look forward to that next Sunday, and that will give you a chance to just get it all off your chest. Now, if you know you've got some questions that you want answered during that time period, you could email us those first. Just send them to us, and we'll make sure that Bernard and Jeff get those questions, and then they could get them to Dr. Prasad, and he could specifically focus in on those questions during the discussion. So instead of blindsiding Dr. Prasad with something. Okay, so anyway, for the record, just keep in mind, as we said, that these testimonies that you heard are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. We're not saying that any of Dr. Prasad's formulas will cure, treat, or heal in any way, shape, or form. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust when it comes to making decisions about your health and your well-being. Before we wrap up, Dr. Prasad, I see there's one more hand that we want to try. We'll go ahead and get. I don't know who Chris is. Okay, hold on, Dr. Piccola.
Yes, we do have Chris who wants to give a testimony. He says, and we have a photo up here that we can bring him on. And in addition to that, we want to thank all of our guests. We have quite a few guests on today, Jonathan, and people are popping in and welcoming their guests. And we want to say to each and every one of you, we welcome you. Another question we have here is, did you say 10,000 steps per month? No, honey, 10,000 per day, 7,000 per day.
7,000 a day. That's 3.5 miles. That's 3.5 miles. It's not too bad.
A day. Absolutely. All righty, Chris, you're on.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. PK. Go ahead, Chris.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much, Dr. Prasad, and everybody out there. Hello from Mendocino, California.
Thank you.
I wanted to offer, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroid hypothyroidism when I was a young man. And I was 69 pounds in 7th grade. So someone was saying, wait a minute, something's wrong with this. I had the energy, but my body was showing there was an issue. So if anyone knows who've had a thyroid condition, you have to get stuck every 3 to 6 months. You have to go and get blood work done. It's an incredibly stressful journey. Well, I graduated from synthroid to desiccated thyroid, bovine thyroid, saying that I just don't do this anymore in this way. So I always, in the back of my mind, knew I needed thyroid support. And I've shared my story a couple of times with everybody, but I just wanted to say I was on the court for months. Also, my father had a major stroke, and I got hit on core 4, and he quote says, "I cannot believe how good I feel." And so I had a shift in finances, but the Lord does work his magic in certain ways. I've been off the core 4 for a couple of months, and I think I can see myself aging by the moment.
Wow.
So I have another order on the way, and I can't wait to receive it and load it up with every boost I can get. And I just wanted to let everybody know the health transformation that I've had. And I'm 42 years, but it is never too late and also never too early to start these supplements in this program. So I thank you so much for taking time for me, everybody. And I wish you all well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Wow. Phenomenal. Wow. Thank you very much, Chris, for being willing to share your story. Oh my goodness. So Dr. Prasad.
Yeah, amazing.
There it is. So men are in the same category as well. So there's more proof of that. It's not just a women's disease.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And let's see. Did I see? Oh, Dr. Picola made it clear that we had a lot of guests that are here, and Dr. Prasad. That really says something, because everybody now is spending more energy trying to make sure that that folks know, and they're bringing a whole lot more guests to these meetings. So we can't thank them enough for being here. And as we said to you,
invite them for 21st.
Make sure that you come on the 21st. So the person who invited you will tell you all about the meeting on the 21st, because you're going to want to hear about the GLP-1 product that Dr. Prasad has formulated. And just again, to give you a little bit more of a teaser, right now, Ozempic, Mounjaro, what's that other one called? Trujillo or something. All those products that are out there loaded with toxicity, but they are helping people to lose weight, and they're doing all kinds of things. Dr. Prasad has come up with a formula that mimics the function, the beneficial function of that, but is absence of the of toxicity. So we can look forward to hearing about that this coming Tuesday evening. And I believe that's 8 o'clock Eastern time. So that's 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, going backwards across the country. So you can look forward to that. Dr. Prasad, thank you very much again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you
for all that you bring to the table and your presence here and the benefits to all of our guests and all of us as affiliates. Thank you again.